Why didn't you tell me that you sold the house?
Because we knew you'd try to talk us out of it. I mean, you were pushy kids.
You're selling your clocks, by the way? What, are you secretly dying?
No, I'm not dying. I'm just sick of winding them.
The things in that house meant something to us. Each one of those objects is a puzzle piece in the story of our lives.
We just don't want clutter anymore.
Then what is this? Clutter? You don't want clutter? Clutter has a name, and it's Pogie, the Christmas tree elf.
You take him. We're gonna get a tabletop tree.
And that, as you could tell, Amy Poehler and Tina Fey from Sisters, and I'm delighted to say that Tina Fey joins us on the programme. Hello, Tina, how are you?
I'm well, how are you, Simon?
Good afternoon, yes, I'm very good, and you must be very, very excited to have this movie. We'll forget the fact it's coming out about the same time as that other movie.
Yes.
Tell us about Sisters.
Sisters, Amy Poehler and I play sisters, and we are grown women who our parents call us and tell us to come and collect our things from our teenage bedrooms because they're going to sell our childhood home. And we go down to Florida to do that, and we decide that we should probably, before we leave the house forever, that we should probably have one more wild high school style party in the house.
Yes. And wild high school style party is exactly what it is. Because basically, although you're grown up, you're not really grown up,
yes,
either of you.
We have some unfinished business to attend to in that house. We need to revisit who we were one more time to maybe finally grow up and get past it.
So, and the party, which is sort of like the centerpiece of the movie, how long does that go? I mean, that is some. Just to give us some kind of flavour of the kind of thing that is happening.
It's the kind of party that starts off normal and then gets progressively more wild. There's a lot of dancing. There's it turns into a foam party at times. By the end, there's a red wine slip and slide happening. And it's people. Greta Lee has a line in the film. She says, "Wow, people are really working their blank out at this party. All these middle-aged people really need to cut loose," and they do.
So your input, because you are producers
Yes.
on this. Now, I'm guessing that you're quite hands-on producers. I can't imagine you're the kind of, it's fine, we'll just go along with it.
Well, yes, I think we are. I mean, definitely. Listen, I'm not the one booking the vans. Like I'm not.
No, who'd want to do
I'm
that?
not looking at the leases for the truck rentals. But yes, it was a thrill to not only have a hand in helping shape the script, but to be a part of the casting process and, in on the costume design, to collaborate with Susan Lyle and stuff. So yeah, Amy and I both were used to, especially coming from TV where we each had our own show, we're very used to being and very comfortable being hands-on.
Does that mean that any of it can be improv at all, or do you like the improv to be scripted?
Well, we definitely want to start with a really good script because you never want to feel like you're improvising to fix the script. And the cast of this movie, there are a lot of really what I would call trained improvisers, because a lot of actors like to improvise, meaning they like to say their lines in a different order, or they like to repeat their line a lot, or say their subtext. But there is a real sort of a hidden skill set in people who actually know how to improvise.
It sounds as though in this movie you had lots of people around you who you have a kind of comedy connection to, which must make it a whole lot easier, really.
Yes.
And I don't just mean Amy, obviously.
Yeah, Amy and I, like I said, we go back more than 20 years now. But yeah, there's a lot of people who we've worked with forever. People like Maya Rudolph, who you guys would probably know from Bridesmaids, Bobby Moynihan and Kate McKinnon, who are current SNL cast members, Rachel Dratch, who I was on stage with in Chicago. We all sort of speak the same comedy language, and so there's a real ease when we're together.
The New York Times had a phrase when they were talking about the sort of comedy laser connection between you and Amy. And New York Times said, jazz legends couldn't have picked up riffs any faster. And they're just talking about when you and Amy are looking at each other and just going for it. And presumably that comes from the fact, as you mentioned, you've been improvising together for decades.
For decades, for literally decades now. Oh, that's a long time. And it is that thing of like, you just know each other well, and it's like jazz, except we didn't have to learn any instruments, so it's not as hard as jazz.
I made a reference at the start of our chat to when this movie comes out, and obviously there's a Star Wars sort of barrier in the road. When were you ever aware of this kind of behemoth or the timings? The
funny thing is, Universal, who I think are actually very smart movie studio. Because we made the movie 2 summers ago, and we knew it sort of was a Christmas movie.
Really? Two summers
Yeah,
ago?
we knew it ended with Christmas, but we wouldn't be able to finish it in time for that Christmas. And they so we've known for like a year and a half that the plan was to go out the same day as Star Wars. It's what's called counter programming.
But sometimes counter programming, you look at the movie and you go, yeah, okay, I can understand. But this is a big comedy. You know, this feels like a pack 'em into Screen 1 comedy. It's not like a Screen 13 art house
Right.
release.
No.
You know?
Yeah, but I think I'm hoping that obviously like. I feel like Star Wars is going to win that first weekend, Simon. I'm not going to lie to you. But I'm hoping that people are just having great movie experiences. It's the holidays that, you can go to more than one movie over that time.
I've seen that as a hashtag.
Hashtag, you can see them both. Don't panic. You can see them both.
And you've done a very funny sort of Star Wars sisters pastiche, which I think is called The Farce Awakens.
They called it The Farce Awakens, yeah. It's our very serious artistic behind-the-scenes trailer for Sisters.
Why do you and Amy do it in an English accent? A very, very good English accent.
Thank you. I think it was because of one of the real behind-the-scenes things that we saw. People were speaking very seriously and reverently about Star Wars. And so we just keep saying that we're not British, but we're just using these accents to cover how drunk we are.
See, it's very good.
Thank you.
Disturbingly good. And you're literally totally so excited.
I was literally could not be more excited.
It's suddenly, it's. I mean, I would recommend people go and have a look at that because, there's something there. And is there any? I think there's some English and Scottish on your father's side.
I recently found out. I knew that I was a little bit Scottish, and that we're Clan Macintosh supposedly. But then I found out I did a genealogy show in the U.S. called Finding Your Roots, and I found out that I am British also, which I never knew. I knew I'm half Greek, but I didn't know that I was British. And I have a relative named John Hewson. My next question was, am I related to Bono?
Yes, obviously.
I'm not, unfortunately. Or fortunately, because then I can still, marry Bono later in life. But who signed the regicide of Charles I or something.
Really?
Yeah, there was some really good history stuff there.
If you're out of America very much longer, they might not let you back in.
They might not.
Things have changed.
Things have changed. They're not letting in. Yeah.
So
they're not letting any brown-eyed people in now. That's the news today.
Was there any English comedy influence in the way when you were growing up? Did you have?
We definitely watched a lot of English comedy. I grew up watching Monty Python. I was much too small to be watching it because I'm born in 1970. So we were seeing it. It was probably mid 70s. I remember staying up with my family to watch it. They would put it on PBS.
Everyone else is watching Barney, and you're watching Monty Python.
Yeah, no, I'm too old. Barney wasn't around yet, but Sesame Street, I guess. Okay. But Monty Python, Fawlty Towers. I was saying we also had weirdly, like any British import was treated with great reverence. So public broadcasting, they would show Benny Hill. So I actually watched a lot of Benny Hill. I'm trying to think what else we had, but anything we could get.
Maybe that's why the English accent is
flawless.
And do you think that because you and Amy have both been very successful in television, and I wonder if Hollywood is actually just catching up and getting to the point where television is in terms of taking vehicles which are just fronted by women, produced by women, directed by women, and eventually you're getting there, but it's just a bit behind the telly.
I wonder, I do think there's something about the form that television has always been friendlier to women, and they reach women, right? So advertisers know, back in the old broadcast model, we're going to sell this soap to women because they're home and they're watching TV. And I do think, just anecdotally, my experience, it's a little harder as a working mom. It's a little harder to get to the theater. There are many movies that'll be like, oh, I want to see that, and I don't necessarily get the babysitter and get there. So I think that's why the industry listens to money. So if women went, men and women went to see Bridesmaids, men and women went to see Trainwreck. So the more of these movies that succeed, the more of them we'll get. You
and Amy have talked about your own internal Bechdel test. We've talked about the Bechdel test on the show quite a lot. Is there a new version that you're working on? Tell us what that is.
A new version of the Bechdel test? Are any of the women over 40, do they have their original teeth or do their faces move when they cry? No, I'm making these up now. The next level Bechdel test.
No, well, I think that's pretty good. Well, maybe there does need to be a new one.
Yeah, we'll just contact Ms. Bechdel.
And do you think you have 2 daughters?
I do.
So they are sisters, clearly.
They
I
are.
worked that one out. Will they be allowed to see this?
Someday, not now. Not now, not for, I think my older daughter's 10, so I guess in about 5, 6 years maybe.
Time. And what are you working on next, Tina?
We're finishing up the second season of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, which is a show that I
on Netflix.
co-created with my writing partner Robert Carlock for Netflix. And that we're just getting through that, and that's the main thing, and then a bit of a break.
I've got Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Oh yeah, that we've done that. That's going to come out next year.
Stuff.
I did do more stuff. Yeah, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot is a movie that Robert Carlock, again my writing partner for many years, he wrote his first screenplay, and it's an adaptation of a memoir called The Taliban Shuffle by a woman named Kim Barker, who was a journalist in Afghanistan, and so it's sort of about the wildlife that these journalists lead. They go there, they're all kind of shacked up in a shoddy hotel together, and they would sort of work all day and party all night and have these strange adventures.
Is Martin Freeman in?
He is,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I got to meet Martin. I really, really, really enjoyed working with him. And yeah, Martin Freeman and Billy Bob Thornton and Margot Robbie and Alfred Molina.
That's a good cast.
Yeah.
Sisters stars Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. And Tina, we appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for reminding me that I made a movie.